All right, another evening edition you're going to see in the morning, Lord willing, of Grown Black Folk Talk. The number three trait of regressive people that you must get away from and also deal with in yourself. Uh, 2 days ago, we talked about entitlement, ingratitude, and entitlement. Two sides, same coin. This is the number one trait. You see people acting like that, you get away from. Number two, the need for instant gratification. And number three is actually related to number two, but the video would get too long. Big eyes, little muscles, greed and sloth. Greed and sloth combined are a terrible thing. Either one of them is terrible, but combined. Now, as a black person living in America, I recognize that there is a resentment hangover culturally because we recognize that 13% of our ancestors were not paid for their labor. So the difficulty of life as an African American, because 13 generations of wealth were not passed down to us, is big in that all that labor, there's a debt owed, and it would be wonderful and we could live a much easier life if it was paid out. However, while we wait for reparations, and it may be a very long wait because the country does not want to pay it out, has no tendency of electing leadership that wants to pay it out, it may take a little while. And even if it were paid out, you still would have to deal with greed and sloth. These two combined are the third trait of regressive people. Big eyes. They see everything that they want, and there's a lot that they want. Little muscle. The work that it takes to get in there, no desire to do that. Always looking for a shortcut. Yesterday, I used the analogy of how not to be able to climb a hill in San Francisco. Plan on walking 12 blocks in any direction except maybe down the Great Highway, which is by the beach. But even then, there's a cliff there if you walk to the north. Walk 12 blocks in any direction. Look at a regular map and don't have a topographical map. You're probably going to meet a hill that you're not prepared to get up and over. So instant gratification, you need to get there now. No, you're not going to make it on foot because you're not prepared for the greatness of the way. This is another issue around greed and sloth. Everybody wants to get to the top of the mountain. The view is beautiful up there. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's away from the noise. The air is fresher. But in terms of always waiting for someone to carry you up there. This is the third habit. It will keep you stuck forever. Because here's the deal. One, this goes back to entitlement. Once you become an adult, no one's obligated to carry you anywhere. It has to be a mutually beneficial relationship. That's one thing. Something else to consider about that. Greed will keep you from building the relationships that you need to get there. The need for instant gratification will also prevent you. These two things run together. If you have to be the firstest with the mostest, I believe that was General Patton of World War II, all the time, and your greed will not allow you to collaborate and share with others, again, you will be cut off before you even know you're being cut off. Because I'm going to say again, we're in a knowledge-based economy in the communications age. That is the 21st century means to thrive requires that you get the right information and apply it correctly, and that you keep relationships with people that will help you get that information so you can apply it correctly. You can get to places in the economy and live very well without anybody ever wondering, look, well, you're a fat black woman in America. You can't have this. You can get past that. Ask me how I know. But you got to have the right people willing to give you the right information. And if you have a reputation of being a greedy person, you're not going to get there. The other way that you're not going to get there is this. Give somebody a world-class tip that over the next 15 to 20 years will make them thousands of dollars, and then watch them refuse to take step one, but still be complaining about how they cannot get ahead. No. No one is going to continue to do that in the 21st century. Because the time that I spend here, doing a 5 to 15 minute video is time that I could be spending creating something that can make me at least $5 to $15 today. And if the markets I'm looking at do what they're supposed to do, maybe worth $75 down the road or even more. So in the 21st century, time really is money for people who have the kind of skill to be able to speak and create content. So greed is not enough. Greed does not give you power to do anything per se, except when finally presented with resources to hoard them, to consume them, and to cut other people off from having access, to use too much, and then make people not want to share with you. That's essentially what greed will end up doing. Greed is like a bottomless pit. And eventually people learn to stay away from the edge. Sloth will put you in the middle of a gold mine. And there's all the gold in there that you might ever want. But you'll never get it out. Because all you're going to be handed is a pickaxe. In the 21st, actually, back to the beginning, the Constitution, not the Constitution, but the Declaration of Independence says this: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's the best. But that's plenty for those willing to put the work in. But basically, in the 21st century, this is just another example of this. You have life. You have a certain amount of liberty. If you have a cell phone, you have access to the global economy. But all you're going to basically be handed is a pickaxe and maybe a road map, maybe a map through the mine and a pickaxe. You still have to go dig out what's there. I can tell you on this video how it is that I have access to accounts that earn me 5 to 25% interest. But you're still going to have to deal with the learning curve that goes to accessing that. I'm not going to lay this out here because I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just saying the learning curve that it takes to learn how to get access to these and use them is still a learning curve. You're still going to have to learn more information about these things and make up your mind how best to access them, because they're a little bit out of the common way, and you have to accept a slightly higher level of risk than you're used to if you're putting money in the bank or going to a payday loan. It's just a very different way of learning things. Greed will say it would be better to get 25% of my money, but sloth will keep you from being able to even follow a reasonable step. The need for instant gratification will tell you that it's too long, and the entitlement will tell you, hey, I deserve to have this, but you still don't have any power to get there through the entitlement. And the ingratitude will have you not saying thank you, which means that no one who has that kind of information is going to go out of their way to tell you again. This is why people who are regressive people stay back. That's the combo view. Greed, sloth, entitlement, ingratitude, and the need for instant gratification. And if you manifest these things, or you hang around with people who do manifest these things, you will be written off before you even start. And that also means you ain't gonna make it in the 21st century. Sloth is really dangerous. And I owe the particular uses of this word to my friend Stephen Woodford. It's really very dangerous because, again, sloth will have you standing in front of a gold mine and not be able to get anything out of it. Sloth will have you in the middle of the 21st century in the most prosperous nation on earth with all its problems. The United States is still, at this point, if you're looking for opportunity to get from where you are to where you want to be, this is still the fastest place to get there. Sloth will have you in the middle of the most prosperous nation on earth with all the desire to get to being rich in the world and not able to move 1 inch, because it's like climbing a hill and waiting for someone to put you on your back and carry you. This is why, quote, entitlement programs will never get anybody where they want to go. They're only designed for sustenance, to just sustain you. That's it. In order to be able to really move your situation, to get to where you want to be, you have to be able to put the work in. And if you are lazy, that won't help you get there. Now, I'm not saying that Black people are more lazy than anybody else. I can make an argument that the type of people that needed 13 generations of free labor to get a country built might be actually ahead of us on that. I'm just saying. But I am saying that whoever you are, and no matter what color or what background you come from, if you can't if no one's gonna hand you a pile of gold. There is no open sesame to be able to some door to open in the 21st century. And this is the thing about it. Let's say that there were, just like yesterday. Let's say that with your instant gratification mindset, somehow you did become rich. Here is the problem about greed. It's a different variation on the problem we had yesterday. Greed will not allow you to know when to stop. The pursuit of wealth in an unwise way is the fastest way to destroy it. Again, the pursuit of wealth in an unwise way is the fastest way to destroy wealth. Perhaps you would think to yourself of a gambler who may be up right now a little bit. He can take his chips and walk away and cash them out and have a nice sum. He's going to go back and double down because he has in his mind, if I won once, maybe I will win again. This happens in the stock market. People come in, or the crypto market. People come in and buy at the top. Greed will have you do that. And sloth will have you not doing the work so that you can know this is not how you do this. Number one, the house always wins the casino. That's number one. The house is not going to let you walk off with everything it has. That happens very, very rarely. If you don't have a sense to get up and walk away because you're greedy and you have not done the work, you have too much sloth to understand how it works, the house is going to beat you. Keep staying in their house, keep staying in the house, and the house will beat you. Well, the same thing goes for the stock markets and the crypto markets and Forex, which I know less about, but similar things do happen. Bitcoin made it to nearly $66,000 in the early spring. And then from about May 14th onward, gave back 55% of that. Now, if you bought it at, let's just say 9,500 last September, last July, about this time, when it went back to $27,000, you still don't care because you still have 3 times and can afford to wait. If you bought it at 65,000, because you got greedy and did not do the work to understand why you do not buy things at the top of the market, you just lost 55% of your money. And if your greed drove you to put in your paycheck, your mortgage, your this and your that, now you can't even sell it to get back the money that you need. And let's not even talk about what happened if you went into something called Dogecoin and that happened. Sloth and greed, greed and sloth. I want the moon. And I want to eat the moon without any thought about what that's going to do to the tides. And I'm waiting on someone else to build me a rocket to get there. This is a very common trait in people that are regressive. And if you have this mindset in a knowledge-based economy, in a communication age, and other people around you find this out, or if you run with people like this and are going to be judged along with them, ain't going to make it. So this is something that you want to look at as part of your makeup and understand this may not be the way you want to go. Okay, that's enough on that for now. Thank you for watching, and I'm not quite finished with this series. I'll see you next time.